there's a breaking story out today that Cardinal Reinhard Marx, 67-year-old Archbishop of Munich, has offered his resignation to Pope Francis, and we want to get the latest on that. So Bree Dail's with us. Good morning to you, Bree.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Praise be to God, we can hear you. Now, I see you. Now, for those that are listening on radio, you're not going to be able to know where she is or what she's doing. Is we should have a segment. Where in the world is Bree Dail? But right now, she is on a walk, apparently, on the streets of Rome. And behind her, I can see all the way in the distance there, the dome of St. Peter's Basilica. So busy, beautiful day, it looks like, in the Eternal City. We appreciate you taking some time to be on with us.
Absolutely. So, Joe, what has been reported this morning coming to the press pool in German and then in English, which I shared online to my Twitter pages and my Facebook pages and also Instagram actually, is the big breaking news that Cardinal Reinhard Marx out of Munich, Germany, has offered his resignation to Pope Francis. We don't know whether or not yet. I've not been able to verify whether or not the Pope has accepted his resignation. But as you know, Cardinal Marx and his Cardinal Casper have been both very outspoken progressives, have been the proponents of what is known as the synodal way coming out of Germany, which has caused a lot of confusion on who has authority. Is it the local churches who inform the Pope, or is it the Pope who makes the final decision? And that has been going on for the past, I would say, 6 or 7 years. But really in the last year, there's been a lot of conflict. So we're not 100% sure what has sparked this today. However, we do know that there is an ongoing investigation into sex abuse cover-up in Germany that has brought forth some pretty big names. An archbishop in Germany, as well as some auxiliary bishops, have been named in potential cover-up. And we know that Pope Francis has just made it very clear in canon law that individuals who have been involved with very pro-body type situations, who are bishops, face a canonical censorship, possibly being, deposed, losing their rights as cardinals, for example, their voting rights, all of that. So this is a really big development, and it's ongoing. But Cardinal Marx makes it really clear that he believes that the path forward for the church, currently he believes that the church is, as he said, quote, in a dead end, and that he believes that the path forward is accountability to the sex abuse crisis of leaders, but also the synodal path. So not quite sure what that means as we see the ongoing back and forth between Germany and Rome. Joe?
Wow. Bree Dail is our guest. She is the host of Intersections, by the way. You can hang out with her on her live video stream of that show every Monday, 8 a.m. Central across the GRN on Facebook, YouTube, and elsewhere, or listen to the radio side of the program on GRN as well. We're talking to Bree about the Cardinal Marx situation here. Now Bree, in this, it seems like I'm reading this article that's published by Catholic News Agency, but his actual resignation letter can now be read as well. But it seems like it's really just focused on the abuse situation there over the past 10 years. However, is there any sort of language or is there any sort of sentiment about the whole synod and the talk of really deviating from church teaching, the traditions of the church on crucial issues like gender ideologies or communion for married and divorced people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Is there anything caught up in that?
No, well, see, he said again that he thought that where the church is now, that the path of the church now has met a dead end. And that he said in his resignation letter that he believes that the only way forward is the synodal path. Wow. But it does seem that he's making that declaration, but at the same time recognizes in his letter his own personal responsibility, his remaining silent, as he says, as a leader on the sex abuse crisis. And we do know that there has been many, many cases now that have been proven in civil investigations of cover-up in sex abuse crisis or sex abuse in Germany, in the church in Germany. And, this goes on to a lot of the issues that are being met by this synodal path, talking about the need for married priests, the need for ordaining women, the need for, blessing gay or homosexual unions, and all of which has now been completely, turned upon in the Vatican. The Vatican has come out through the CDF and through other legal means to confirm that women who are individuals who are seeking to ordain women, or women themselves who are seeking to be ordained, are excommunicated, lete sentia. That's very, very clear now in canon law. And there's, the new measures that have just been put out by Pope Francis, as well as the responsibility of bishops and those who are in authority, whether it's a priest, a bishop, an archbishop, or cardinal, and what could happen to them if they do not report sex abuse or knowledge of that. And it seems that Cardinal Marx claims in this letter that he did know about issues of sex abuse and that he is taking responsibility as a leader, which is admirable under the current circumstances.
Do you get a sense in this that this is just for, this is just like sort of a nice thing to do, just a gesture to make, oh, here's my resignation, or is this a sincere action on his part?
I think this is a self-preservation action, actually. This allows him to resign as a cardinal and retire as a cardinal. It's one of those things that we have to start to question with regards to that. We know that that also occurred with Cardinal Reinhard, where he resigned in disgrace after being proven to have known about Theodore McCarrick's abuse. And he resigned, and he's now living and receiving, I think the report was $2 million this year from private account.
Wow.
For his retirement, just this year alone. And that came from the pillar.
That is insane. Will Cardinal Marx, do you think that Pope Francis will accept this resignation?
I hope he will. I think it calls to accountability by church leaders. I hope he will.
Yeah.
And with canon law, it doesn't say that those who resign, they still have authority. We know that because, for example, cardinals always resign. They always resign for retirement's sake. So someone like Cardinal Zen, for example, he handed in his resignation when it came time at his age. And, he lives in retirement. But that doesn't mean that he could not be brought, and God forbid it, because Cardinal Zen is an exception. But for individuals who have retired, it doesn't mean, I believe in canon law, that they cannot be held accountable for the time that they oversaw, the abuse in the church. So this could be self-preservation, and it would be really interesting to hear from canon lawyers. I'm not an expert in that, but it does seem to be very, very clear, the new measures about the punitive actions that could be taken place if someone is seen in leadership to have done such a thing.
According to the CNA article, it looks like he will be allowed to continue his duties just as normal until the Holy See makes a decision. Is that the case?
Oh, yeah, but that's the norm. That's the norm in the situation until the Pope receives and accepts that resignation. He will continue to do, life is as usual.
Bree Dail is our guest. She is the host of Intersections. She's also a journalist with Epoch Times there in Rome, and she's contributed to many other outlets as well. We're very blessed to have her on the program today to help better understand what is going on with this breaking news today about Cardinal Marx from Germany. Now, you might remember he was the sort of the head of the German Council of Bishops, and then he stepped down from that, and we thought that was pretty interesting news. Nothing changed as a result in Germany. It seems like they continued their trajectory. Maybe he just had less stress on his plate. I don't know. But now we're seeing that this resignation has come through. And let me just read this real quick here. It says, this is from the CNA article quoting his resignation. Quote, "With my resignation, I would like to make clear that I am willing to personally bear responsibility, not only for any mistakes I might have made, but for the church as an institution which I have helped to shape and mold over the past decades." Unquote. Now, what's interesting about that, Bree, is he says might have made. This is not the same thing as an admission of guilt of things he's actually done.
No, because he has not yet been put, I don't think that's been put forward as investigation results. But, honestly, Joe, this does seem to me, just based off of the political realm, it seems to be getting ahead of a story. So it has the feel of that. So we'll have to see. Are there investigations that have his name attached to it? I have a feeling that may be the case. And frankly, I mean, in Germany, the buck stops with those who are at the most senior positions overseeing, situations of sex abuse. So the legal system right now is really, it seems, going after the church in Germany, whether that's a good or bad thing, whether it is a biased thing, a secular biased thing, or a cleansing of the church is yet to be really seen. But there are people who are saying, if we cannot police our own from within the church, which, the new canon law definitely shows the ability to, the question is who has the authority and who will enact the canon law. It's one thing to have law on the books. It's the other thing to actually enact the law. At the same time, a secular press and secular authorities have no problem holding accountable the church if we are not willing to do so ourselves. And that's something, Joe, that you and I have discussed many times, holding ourselves accountable in order to serve the truth. And the church is looked at still as an authority in that way. I mean, John Kerry said that, right? The Pope has moral authority. God forbid that disappear because we're not willing to be able to hold one another accountable to the truth.
Yeah, we're down to just about a minute before we have to say goodbye to Bree. Bree, we're appreciative of your time today, giving us some greater context on this story. Breaking news about Cardinal Marx resigning. Monday, what's on the dock for Monday? Any special stories you're going to be covering?
Well, I'm working right now on a big story that's going to be coming out in August, and it's going to be in a really exciting story, but I'm not sure if yet we're going to be able to break it. That's going to be up to the individuals involved. It's a positive story, though. And then, of course, we are following out of the Vatican some of the rumors that are being reported, and why I have been hitting social media very hard about really being discerning on rumors, and because there's a pattern of that coming out of the Vatican and out of certain individuals. And, with rumors, there's truth, and disinformation, there's truth, and oftentimes there's lies. It's whether it's on small things or large things. So we really want to be careful and just really judge things by fact. All
right. Bree Dail, host of Intersections Monday, 8 a.m. Central, along with Joy Mignot. We'll have to leave it at that. God bless you, Bree. Thanks for being on. Kennedy Hall is coming up, and breaking news. We'll be right back.